It's Friday, January 15. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. 6 private laboratories have acquired 30,000 antigen test kits to support national testing efforts for COVID-19, following a donation from the Ministry of Health and Wellness on Thursday. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the move is another example of a public-private partnership. The donation of 30,000 SD biosensor test kits will support the laboratories' offer of testing beginning next Monday, January 18, pending the arrival of their own supplies within 2 weeks. The labs are Microlabs Limited, Biomedical, MD Link, Winchester Medical, Technological Solutions Limited, and Bay West Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is also working with 4 other private entities to offer PCR testing, the gold standard in testing for the virus that causes COVID-19, within another 2 to 4 weeks. The details of these efforts will be made public later. In the meantime, the government has announced an extension of the island-wide curfew and all other previously announced measures under the Disaster Risk Management Act until Sunday, January 31, 2021. The island-wide curfew hours will therefore remain in place commencing at 10 p.m. nightly and ending at 5 a.m. each morning. All other measures, including the prohibition of parties and events, the public gathering limit of 15 persons, as well as measures relating to travel, burials, and weddings, are unchanged and remain in effect until the end of January. By that same token, the special curfew imposed in Westmoreland will come to an end today, Friday, January 15. The measure will not be extended. Speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton spoke of the efficacy of the intervention in that parish.
Today, I can report that the interventions have resulted in the reduction in reported cases to 51 active cases as of January 11th, 2021. The total occupancy at the Savalanamar Hospital is now 56% for isolation, a reduction from as high as 80% reported in December. As such, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has indicated to the Cabinet that we will not require an extension of the special restrictions for that parish beyond the current period, when that period expires.
The minister, however, was wary of rising COVID-19 cases in Manchester and St. Anne. Here now is the latest COVID-19 clinical management summary.
323 Jamaicans have lost their lives to COVID-19. The latest death is a 42-year-old woman from Manchester. The Health Ministry is also reporting 2 coincidental deaths. One was previously under investigation. In the meantime, 77 new COVID-19 infections were discovered over the past 24 hours. That tally is 13,992, with 1,876 active cases. Here is the parish breakdown. Kingston and St. Andrew recorded the highest case count at 44, followed by St. Thomas and St. Elizabeth with 7 each. St. Catherine has 6, St. Mary has 4. Both Clarendon and Manchester registered 3 cases. St. Anne has 2 and Trelawney 1. The other parishes reported no cases. 38 new recoveries were reported, with that total now at 11,630. 107 persons are now hospitalized, with 18 patients moderately ill and 8 critical. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
Jamaicans are being invited to submit written comments about the National Identification and Registration Act 2020, more popularly known as NIDS, to the Joint Select Committee of Parliament. Officials say the new ID system will provide easier access to private and public sector service while deterring identification fraud. Speaking at the first of 6 planned town hall meetings this week to educate Jamaicans on the NIDS, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck described it as a game changer and urged the public to read the NIDS bill and send feedback. Jamaicans have until Friday, January 29 to submit written comments about the National Identification and Registration Act 2020 NIDS. Comments may be submitted to Clerk to the Houses at Gordon House in Kingston or via electronic mail to clerk@japarliament.gov.jm. Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck says all public assessments are welcome.
The skepticism, the issues, the concerns, everything can be brought in, and not only your questions are being recorded, but eventually we will have a matrix to examine all the suggestions that have been made. As we plan, this Joint Select Committee is to ensure that members of the public engage with the Joint Select Committee as much as possible.
One objective of the bill is to establish a National Identification Registration Authority.
The bill proposes to establish a national identification database in which all identity information will be stored. Additionally, the bill proposes to provide for the enrollment of eligible persons, meaning Jamaican citizens and persons ordinarily resident in Jamaica, as well as to provide for the issuance of a national identification card and the assignment of a national identification number.
Technocrats were also asked to explain the proposed avenues for recourse for persons whose information have been compromised or otherwise misused. Minister Chuck explained that the matter is addressed in Section 30 of the NIDS bill.
Any official of the NERA who misuse or provide information unlawfully, or anyone who provides information communicated to anyone which is not provided for in the Act, commits an offense, and a person having committed the offense breaches the duty of secrecy or confidentiality imposed by this Act, shall be liable on conviction before a parish court to a fine not exceeding $3 million.
Information Minister Favour Williams explained that offences can be punished through the Data Protection Act.
The Data Protection Act calls for an information commissioner that would ensure that companies and government entities that handle personal data, that they abide by all the standards that are laid out in that act. The government and companies will have obligations to ensure that there is no unauthorized access to the data. The government and companies that collect data must register and say why is it they're collecting the data, what are they going to use it for, how long they're going to have the data, and so on. So there is quite a lot of protection. And if there's unauthorized access to the data, there are penalties under the Data Protection Act.
Right.
NIDS Technical Team Representative Nadine Wilkins further explained the link between offences of the NIDS bill and other legislations already in law.
Existing legislation, such as the Cybercrimes Act, the Forgery Act, the Proceeds of Crime Act. We have, in the consequential amendments to this bill, included the NIDS so that an offense that is committed, even if the NIDS does not stipulate it, if a card, for example, is falsified, is forged,
yes,
the offenses under the Forgery Act will apply. So we've amended the Forgery Act to ensure that the NIDS card is included. The Lotta scam, the provision in the Lotta scam for identity theft, we've included the national identification number and the national identification card. If anyone seeks to falsify them for that purpose, those offenses will also apply. So we have an extensive arrangement for prosecuting offenses in every aspect of this program.
The 71-page document can be downloaded from the Houses of Parliament website at www.japarliament.gov.jm. pbcj.gov.gm. People making written submissions may be required to appear before the committee at short notice to explain their submissions. Indian Diaspora Day was recently observed. Immigration to Jamaica from India started in 1845. They provided indentured labor on the sugar estates in Clarendon and Westmoreland and on banana estates in St. Mary. Among them, the father of Ram Haraj Ragbeef. His appearance embraced the opportunity of living in Jamaica's multicultural society and set down roots first in St. Mary and later in Kingston. Recently, the High Commissioner to Jamaica, His Excellency R. Massaquoi, met with and paid tribute to Mr. Ragbeef for being a custodian of Indian culture and values in observance of Indian Diaspora Day.
We thought that this is the appropriate time for us to come and meet you and listen to your stories, know and respect you, honor you.
Thank you.
That elders like you have been passing down from generation to generation the Indian ethos, the values that you brought from India in terms of respect for the elders, the family values, the traditions, the festivals that we give, the beautiful ones. In fact, Holi festival is colorful, Diwali is full of light and joy. I think those things you have been passing down to the younger generations. So I thought, because you are a torchbearer of the Indian culture, tradition, and you also link up with the motherland, India, and so I think it is befitting for Indian High Commission here in Kingston to come and honor you. And it's a small respect. This is the memento which we are paying to you, and we have your name here, and this is as an esteemed senior member of the Indian community and custodian of Indian culture and at host in Jamaica.
Immigration has brought Jamaica's society into contact with different cultures and ways of thinking, enabling knowledge and cultural exchanges. Today, we hear the story of an immigrant in his own words. His Excellency Shri R. Massaquoi, India's High Commissioner to Jamaica, sat down with 93-year-old Ram Ragbeef, who regaled him with stories about growing up and raising his family in Jamaica. Carol Francis has more in this report.
At 93 years of age, Ram Haraj Ragbeef is a patriarch, a repository of experiences. He is one of the oldest living members of the Indian community in Jamaica. During a meeting with the Indian High Commissioner to Jamaica, His Excellency R. Massaquoi, Mr. Ragbeef opened the book on the rich historic and cultural life of his family's journey to Jamaica from India in 1907 and his own experiences growing up and raising a family in Jamaica.
My father had some friends, and they want the friends and pay, do what, you know what I mean? And then follow them friends and come to Jamaica. And when they come to Jamaica now, the people who employ them have them different places. My father went in St. Mary. Now my father used to do agriculture in India and know the banana tree, how to plant and all them things there. So they like him because he know the routines. Yeah. And he did well. After that, in 1920 or 920, somewhere, came to Kingston Pen and called the place Kingston Pen because I would find Indians live there. You know what I mean?
He went to school in Kingston for a short while.
My father never had no money to send me to high school. Yeah. So I went to learn trade. And how I get a trade, there was a gentleman, Dr. Varma. He was the president of the East Indian Association. Because these people then form a society. And we have most big people who understand, they start to cooperate with the Indians.
He got married and had 8 children of his own.
You never wish to go back to India and visit there.
Well,
Now you are 93.
what really happened,
Yeah,
I have relative go to India
yeah.
and them invited me.
Hmm.
But because of my work, I have 8 children.
What were you doing actually in your younger
I'm a
time?
machinist,
Oh, okay,
you understand?
okay.
I went to work 1944
Mm.
and the place closed at 207.
Mm.
One place I work right through.
While sharing photographs, the retired machinist who worked at KIG for over 50 years took great care to pass on the knowledge of his parents' homeland, India, their cultural mores, values, and the contribution of the Indian community to Jamaica's development.
A life story of Indian
Yeah,
in general.
yeah.
What they used to do in India, pass it on to me.
Okay.
You understand?
The inclusion of the East Indians into Jamaica would enrich and expand the local tapestry. They were the first to successfully grow rice in Jamaica, establishing the island's first successful rice mill in the 1890s. They continue to influence the fields of medicine, agriculture, manufacturing, in-bond businesses, and sports. They introduced a range of spices, including curry powder, to Jamaican cuisine. Traditional Indian foods like curry goat, curried potatoes, eggplant, butter chicken, and roti have been steeped and infused into the national cuisine.
My mother always cooked dal, tarkari, Irish potato, which is hollow, string bean, long peas, generally these things.
Mr. Ragbeef still has intricately woven Indian jewelry designs and bangles made from silver belonging to his mother. He and his family enjoy the distinctive music, dance, and traditional dress which they have incorporated in their everyday lifestyle. They also observe traditional Indian religious and cultural celebrations like Diwali, which celebrates the victory of good over evil.
The Indian society, they have at their home, they have these kata surpurani at their home, and they read the books and explain to the younger generation as well as the older generation too.
In his seniority, Mr. Ragbeef has become a guardian of a distinct cultural ancestry, a steward that embodies the national motto, out of many, one people. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Carol Francis.
In today's business report, we get our regular market updates as well as we hear from financial coach Denise Williams.
In Thursday's trading session, the JSE combined index advanced by 464 points to close at under 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 82 stocks, of which 41 advanced, 27 declined, and 14 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 32 points to close at under 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for Barita Investments Limited, Berger Paints Jamaica, and Blue Power Group Limited. Stocks declined for Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, Carreras Limited, and Epley Limited. Trading firm were Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited, Siboney Group Limited, and Dermont Trading Company Limited. Dermont Trading Company Limited was the volume leader with over 8 million units, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 4.5 million units, and Pulse Investments Limited with 2.8 million units. Now for the foreign exchange. The US dollar on Thursday, January 14, ended trading at $145.69. The Canadian dollar sold for an average $117.88. The pound sterling traded for $199.73, and the euro ended trading at $180.13. Oil prices fell on Friday as concerns about Chinese cities in lockdown due to coronavirus outbreaks tempered a rally driven by strong import data from the world's biggest crude importer and U.S. plans for a large stimulus package. Brent is heading for the first weekly decline in 3 weeks, while U.S. crude is on track for a third weekly gain. Brent crude futures fell 86 cents to $55.56 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures dropped 58 cents to $52.99 a barrel. The coronavirus pandemic has shown us how important it is to take control of your portfolio and your life. While money isn't everything, it pays for a lot and makes things easier. In this week's edition of Financially Focused, financial coach Denise Williams tells you how to create $1 million portfolio by paying attention to your finances monthly and busting financial myths.
Now, let me be very clear. Financially focused isn't about get rich quick. And, it's not about, I'm telling you, I'm going to get you $1 million cash now. We're talking about portfolio. And that's an entirely different way of thinking. And I just want to share my own impact, how COVID has impacted me. So, by March, you're in this fog. You're in this brand new territory. You don't know what's going on. And the question becomes, how do you keep the standard of living in a pandemic, right? It's just crazy because now I am in a panic mode. I have to figure out how to homeschool 2 children, one with special needs. And, you start to kind of believe the hype that there's no growth in COVID at this time. That's when I decided to reach out to my financial mentors. Now, these are the senior people in the investment world who had gone through at least 3 global crises in their investing career, and they came out on the other side better investors. Take back your financial power. You can have more cash from your paycheck. You can grow your small business. You can be a better investor. That is the takeaway. So here are some hairy, big, horrible financial blocks that we want to focus on and talk about. So one, I can't become a real estate investor and earn monthly cash from my investments. Why? Oh, so many reasons. House prices are too expensive. You don't have the deposit saved, or maybe you don't have good credit. So, that's a little bit of an awful situation to be in. But I'm really happy to tell you the financial truth. The truth is there's at least 15 different ways to make money in real estate. And I'm sure somebody could come up with more than 15. So buying property, having that cash to purchase, having that credit report is just one way. So having all of those tools, buying the property, finding the tenant, renting it out is just one of 15 ways to make money. If you only have $100 or up to $1,000, that's the most you can do. You can buy real estate stocks that pay dividends. You can buy real estate stocks that are expected to go up in value. You can make money by offering services to real estate companies. Example, do you like to decorate? You could be a stager. Handy with a hammer, you could be a handyman. There's just so many things, services you could offer. Or you can even buy mortgages and debt. You can be on the other side of the transaction. Instead of being the purchaser who's running around to get their credit sorted out, you could invest. And as I said, $100 at the minimum. You can be an investor. You can do it. Your mental block might be stock market investing is for rich people and you don't have any extra money. That's cool. You don't know what to do. You may not even be at a space where you are comfortable to open an account. But here's the truth. Here is the truth. The truth is you can profit from the 10% solution. Yeah, you just immediately take 10% off the top of your salary and invest. But there's a strategy behind it. Or here's the one I like. 20% of your annual salary can be a Attitude Money account. When you have an Attitude Money account, you can be someone who's positive and who can, have a can-do attitude because you have money. For persons who have small businesses, there is a development bank and they can help you to grow your business. Last but not least, of course, is the money movement strategy. Money movement strategy. This now is a technique to shift your investment between different assets to earn above average interest rates. And listen, above average interest rates is important because a lot of banks are paying zero. So that's really, really critical. So, just to wrap up, because, I appreciate your time and I really appreciate you spending this time with me to let's go through all of this. I want you to understand that there are 12 financial power tools out there. Yeah. From savings to retirement to investments to leverage, which is a fancy word for debt. There are 12 financial power tools that if you spend 30 minutes on them monthly, this is the pathway to $1 million portfolio.
Thanks, Denise. For more information on financial development, head on over to financiallyfocusedmedia.com. And that does it for the Friday edition of the Business Report on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
In regional news, vaccine distribution could get underway in the region by March. That's the word from Pan American Health Organization Director Dr. Carissa Etienne. She made the disclosure during a digital media briefing on Thursday.
We know, as I said before, that there are not sufficient doses available now. Manufacturers are still producing. Many countries have bought really large quantities of vaccine doses. So it will take some time for those doses to reach some of our countries. A few of our countries made their bilateral arrangements with manufacturers, and they have received limited doses. I think what's important for us to know is that through COVAX, we have addressed some of that inequity in ensuring that all countries, particularly our low-income countries and middle-income countries, will have access to some vaccines. There is history. For H1N1, our member states did not receive vaccines until 10 months to 1 year afterwards. And this is what COVAX is addressing: equitable access, equitable early access to vaccines.
2 billion vaccine doses have already been secured from Pfizer Inc. under COVAX for distribution globally in 2021, with another 1.3 billion programmed for 2022.
Until we are able to immunize or vaccinate 70% or more of all of our populations, we must continue with the public health measures. And those public health measures are what is going to guarantee us to be able to reduce the spread of the virus. We need to ensure that we detect cases, that we isolate, quarantine, that we are able to communicate with our population. We need to ensure that we do not congregate. We need to ensure that we socially distance, that we wear masks, that you wash hands frequently. Those are the things that are going now in this era to allow us to be able to prevent the wide transmission of the virus.
Dr. Etienne says the COVAX facility will provide access to 15 vaccines, but notes that Pfizer vaccine is the only one already pre-qualified by the World Health Organization. In sports, we're in the creases with cricket. Interim Test captain Craig Brathwaite is seeking success as the West Indies tour of Bangladesh kicks off in a few days. The Windies squad has been labelled as the B team after 10 players, including captain Jason Holder, opted out of the tour, citing personal and safety reasons. Brathwaite, however, is confident that this crop of lesser-known players were up to the task. We get more in this report from Newsroom Ghana's Akeem Green.
Between 2017 and 2019, the Barbadian led West Indies in the absence of Jason Holder in 5 tests and lost all. He was captain on the last tour to Bangladesh in 2018-2019, where the hosts dominated the visitors in the 2 tests. His ascension back to the realm of leadership is a curious case since he was replaced as long-standing vice-captain for the previous series in New Zealand so that he can focus more on his batting during the lean patch. With COVID-19 concerns prompting several of the senior pros not to tour, Brathwaite becomes West Indies' go-to man again, and this time he wants to make it count in the win column.
Obviously leading a team, you want to win. So I wouldn't say it isn't, but my role here, I just want to lead from the front, both as a captain and with the back, and yeah, obviously it'd be great to get that win, but we gotta start, hour by hour. We can't think too far ahead. We obviously gotta plan first, and then we gotta go and execute. So then once we take it step by step, the end result will take care of itself. So, yes, I'm looking forward to getting that first win, but it's steps to get there. So I think once we take those steps and put in the work initially, I know that this team will do well here and win.
The 28-year-old said he's up for the challenge, noting he will tap into the reservoir of knowledge from regular skipper Jason Holder before the series. Additionally, while the squads have copped names such as second string, the skipper felt it is not a true reflection of the talent and it is a big opportunity for the players.
I know the guys, here are very hungry. So, I know they'll do anything, to get success. Obviously if you get success from a batting point of view, bowling point of view, that will help the team to win. So I know these guys are very hungry, and I could see the opportunity. They will grab it. I see this tour. The word for this tour is really opportunity. So I know these guys will be raring to go, and and hungry for that success, and to show the world that they could do the job. They're not just filling a spot, but they could perform and do well for West Indies.
Wednesday marked the final day of the 3-day isolation after the entire 38-member contingent returned 2 negative COVID-19 tests after their arrival. Players will begin training on Thursday in the bubble as preparations begin for the first of the 3 one-day internationals, which start on January 20th. The first of 2 tests start on February 3rd. For the newsroom, Akeem Green.
That's all we have for you today. Until we see you again, keep safe and pleasant viewing.